The Bloodstone Chronicles, Book 1, A Darker Sun by David Inkling. Chapter 25, A Proper Poem. The Lamentations of Lucille. In the third age of 5, when Ashtarin was lord of the Grand Hall, Lucille, youngest of 7 daughters of Philomena from Urbina, recorded herein the testimony of a light dream given unto her, and concerning all that will come to pass. Here is the unfolding. The angel flame revealed these things in the burning light, and it is set down here. I am speaking out, so that what is shown is known, and the words might ease the passing of the dark days. For all who would be saved their suffering, be it so. Before the sun is born, at the final dawn, and heavy is the heart that is lost from light. The heaviness of heaven's heart will not bear dark days to last forever. Night is but a notion. First, the sky will pool to black, and the warm land's bounty wither in darkness. There will blow chill breath from the east as people forsake the path. Holiness walks in silent footsteps as righteousness falls silent. A famine will not remind them that the sun shines on all. The light is for all. They prefer their own counsel and feed fat their hungers, even as children starve. The sick wither white, and the tears of the aged do not dry. They look for a kiss of sweet relief, but find only bitter bile, and they eat their own tongues. Truth is hushed in a song of silence. Fruit rots unharvested on a tree of stillness. Behold the bodies where slaughtered tongues hang heavy. This is the first day's woe. Heavy is the heart lost from light, and these will be the first signs coming in the darkest days. A storm upon an ocean's tide will cast her stones for an end, to end all things, and sadness settles in a silent sea. How lovely in the moonlight is this stillness. Hope kisses the horizon with 100 fallen stars. Second, when the ground folding heaves the meek and breaks the dragon's back, fire will burn. A hot white eye burns and does not cease, and a river of dense darkness pours forth. Woe to those too slow in heeding. They will be consumed, burning in flames even the paths of the righteous. Only the deepest height will save them. And where is the coolest water to quench a holy thirst? Woe, woe, and yet more woe. The king flies high. He hears the great cry rising. Blessed are the tears of the people. Strong hands of the heartless hear the cry, and none can silence it. This is the second day's woe. Eleisa stops. Already the heat of the words burn through her, bristle in her mind and crush her with every heavy syllable. Why record such misery? What is the point of telling people this? Do her parents know any of this? The words describe her present. But why know about such misery without some remedy? Is there anything to do to stop any of it? What's the purpose of writing that simply scares people? Such things are not worthy. It makes Eleisa feel sick and she shudders. Did her parents know about this? Could they have been warned? What would they have done if they'd known? Could they have fled to another place and moved overseas? Is there anywhere that the sun will shine when the darkening days bring their sad misery? Freedom fails, and great enslaving falls, and the people cry out once more, but it is too late. The wise ones lose their tongues to silence. Each life lost is loved as yet. Each tear shed, still a note sung in the heart of one who comes to save. And the blood of each one lost enriches the land. Lives lost nourish the life tree to come. This is the third day's woe. And then the time of tears begins. It will never seem to cease. Year weeps into year. But fear not, faithful and beloved, it too will end. Fear not, for not all light is diminished. When young ones are not eaten with desire, or weakened by the weight of sorrow's song, a true foot finds its path. One may step in silence, uphold the bright stone hope, bear the bold shield of faith within the arrows of a storm of doubts. Such is majesty. How lovely is the footfall where one brings truth and light. It burns as bright as lightning in the darkest place. Until this day, heavy is the heart once shaded. So, and woe unto those who quench the burning, smother the flames of truth. There will unfold a reckoning. Look how it falls like lightning. Judgment is an axe to each root. Justice falls like fire, and the air burns. Only the tree of truth withstands this burning. To the cries of the unjust, a deaf ear will turn. No sound is heard in the wave of screams breaking. The day of dying is come. It is done. Silence sings. Mercy is just. So, all who wield their power in woe will lose its weight in justice. So, when the sun rises, the song of light sung on the morn, with the coming of day on the final dawn, and innocent ones will sing its song. Hear the song of salvation. Hear heaven's hum. Behold the song of bees in the thriving of trees, in the open place where fire flowers unfold, their splendors rise. Look to the skies for the light unfolding. Behold the King who flies once more. Even as the grass thrives and the birds fly high, life returns. Life alights on the tallest tree. The mighty spires welcome the dawn. So, But it is not today, not yet a while, but soon. Fear unfolds your heart, but fear ye not, ye shall sing. Until this day, the heart is heavy. So, Eleisa stops once more. It is just depressing, a long list of terrible things, and she feels it has begun. People are silenced, arrested, and executed. What is to be gained from reading this? Where is the help, the wisdom? What solutions does she offer? None. Why would the bishops or the caltrop or whatever it is they call themselves seek to destroy a book that simply describes what they are busily achieving unless it offers some kind of hope? The last section is followed by a verse, 8 lines written in an indecipherable language. She has never seen such a script before. It may as well be Zuskan or Geddon for all she can make of it. She stares at the text, then closes the book in frustration. Her heavy sigh drifts into the cave. "Hello," Tom says suddenly and catches her eye. He is sitting up and watches her. "Did you get any sleep at all?" he asks. "No. I can't stop thinking about everything. And I don't know what we should do. And then I started reading this. I wondered if it might help." "And did it?" Tom asks. "No, not at all. It's all just doom and gloom and the end of the world stuff. But there's one section in some strange script. Unless we can read that, it means nothing. Perhaps you should focus more on what your aunt said in her message." Tom takes the book, glances at it, and closes it. "Does what she says make any more sense about what you should do?" "I have to find the family cache. Take the stones to the keep, assuming my parents are there." It doesn't sound very hopeful. You know what happens with withdrawal. And if it goes on too long, they'll just wither and become like the spots or the haugs. They won't care anymore. "And do you know where the bloodstones are, your Ma and Da's? Did they ever tell you?" "Well, that's the odd thing. They never even told me they had them. They've kept them secret. I was always told to stop talking about such nonsense. Why do that if they have stones in the house? And why not tell me?" "I think some adults are embarrassed by it," Tom says. "My uncle always said he wouldn't go to the Sun Hall. He was totally negative about stone culture, but he still had a tender heart. He treated me as if I were his own son. He may have had a reputation for being a grumpy man at times, but he wasn't, never with me. It was as if he saved all his love and hid it away. And when I came along unexpectedly, it just seemed to leak out of him. He couldn't help smiling at me. He loves me. And when I did things other parents would get really upset about, he just smiled and said, 'Never mind, do it better next time, Tommy.' He was the only one who called me Tommy too. He was the nicest man." Tom stops, and Eleisa stares at him. "Except for one time." "What happened?" Eleisa says. "Once. He snapped, and I saw another side to him, and it shocked me. I was playing a silly game in the home and fell over. I knocked into this stupid pig, a model of his on the mantelpiece. It wasn't very special, I thought at the time, just a clay model of a great fat pig. It was a bit odd, but he always used to call it by a name, as if it were a pet. He called it Tam. Well, it went flying off the shelf, but I managed to grab it anyway and fell over, saving it from smashing. I landed flat on my back completely winded, but the pig was safe on my chest. And it was his reaction that shocked me. It was the strangest thing he ever did. He jumped out of his chair, shouted at me and got really cross. He leapt up and grabbed the pig, told me I was an oaf and should go to my snug, and then he picked up the pig and spoke to it. What did he say? Oh, something like, there, pig'em, it's all right. Yes, that's what he said. He put it back on the shelf. And he stroked it too. It was most unlike him. Really quite odd. Unlike anything he'd ever done before. Irrational. I wondered if he talked to it a lot before I got there and whether it was a kind of crazy jealous thing. But it was only a clay pig. I've never forgotten it. I was so upset too. It brought tears to my eyes to make him so angry, and I felt hurt too because the silly pig was fine. I'd saved it. I didn't see what all the fuss was about. It was the only unfairness I knew from him. He was upset for hours. Eleisa looks at Tom. Waits. And how do you think this is connected exactly? Ned says suddenly, and joins in. He looks totally perplexed as he sits there listening. Well, I wonder, what if he had a bloodstone hidden in the pig? What if I'd threatened to expose it, the very thing he was trying to hide? That might upset him. But why? What did he think was so awful about having a bloodstone? I'd never appreciated any need to hide it until this week. Perhaps he thought some stone stuff was silly nonsense. I did too, really, until I saw you with your grandma's stone in the meadow, Ellie. Now I'm beginning to think that some adults keep their stones secret for a reason. Perhaps he knew what was coming, the danger it brings. And now it seems I'll have to hide the greatest stone blessing I've ever had. I'll have to keep the light from it hidden. It doesn't seem right. But adults hiding their bloodstones makes a bit more sense now. Don't you think? Yes, I suppose so. And you'll need to make a corn of some kind, something to carry the bloodstone and keep it hidden, Eleisa says. And you? Ned says. Are you thinking you've got to go and find your family stones? Tom says. Well, not right this second. But it's what Aunt Milowina says, but I don't really know where to start. We don't have any strange statues, boxes, or anything special at home. My ma and dad didn't really put any store and value in things like that. Well, are there any special family treasures passed on that they told you had to keep? Ned asks. I can't think of any, unless they're all at the copse. But that's quite away from my home. Ma and Da didn't show any sickness or withdrawal, did they? Anyway, the copse has been searched, and everything there's smashed. The guard will have found them already. Milowina says I have to get them, and she'd have got them herself if they were at her home, surely. It's as if I'm supposed to know where they might be. She says I have to find the sun in the garden, which doesn't mean anything to me. We don't really have a garden. It's a bare yard. We spent all day working the land, so there was no time for growing flowers. As they're talking, they hear Tubold's heavy footfall in the tunnel. He approaches and calls out a friendly warning. He has a cheery greeting when he enters and has brought a fresh fragrance of supper with him. Cooked meat, fresh bread and spicy vegetables flood the cave as he steps in and lifts their hearts. Here, he says, passing a great bag of goodies over. I thought you said you'd be gone a while, Eleisa says. Yes, well, the guard were given too much ale by someone, and I've left them all to sleep it off, and I've managed to sneak out again. There's more fruit too. he says with a wink, so you can make a start on that, whilst I get the rest of the meal ready. The so-called fruit is pureed, mixed with sugar and spices, then baked into small, bite-sized pastry parcels. They look and taste delicious. Twobold calls them tuckets. They are coated in the finest white powdery sugar. He looks at his own creation, picks one up and pops it in his mouth. Ooh, just tuck it in there, he says and smiles. These are amazing, Twobold. You could be a professional, Ned says, putting 2 more in at once. Twobold smiles and hangs his cloak by the hood from the door, and then comes and sits down, where he proceeds to open up the packages of food. You need a good, wholesome meal if you're going to stay up here for long. His words are met with silence. Then Eleisa looks up at him. But we can't stay up here hiding, Twobold. We've got to do something, Eleisa says. Well, you'll still need to eat, won't you? If you're going to do whatever it is you're going to do. This will make you all feel a little better and give you a bit more oomph, he says, laying out the roasted chicken, warm bread rolls, and a number of other pots of delicious-looking vegetable mixtures. Oh yes, and I brought you this too, Tom, he adds. It is a soft leather pouch with a thick strap that he can place around his neck. You can put your bloodstone in that until you find something more suitable. Wear it under your shirt and it'll hold it flat and close to your heart. I used it once for holding coins when I went to the city on a trip. But I didn't need it because I'd spent most of my money after only a day or two. You won't believe what things cost in city places. They wanted a whole coin for a basic meat and potato pie. It was disgraceful. But city folk all seem to have plenty of coin and pay silly prices. Twobold's conversation makes them settle into an easy chatter, and they feel safer with him there. His voice is homely and relaxed. And this, he says, delving into the pocket of his jacket, is for you, Eleisa. He hands her a tiny pocket-sized book. It will help you with the script if I know my grumpy doo-doo. It's somebody's notebook, Eleisa says, flicking through the pages. And it's all about the Lamentations. Where did you get it? 'Twas my grandfather's. He was maester of the Black Ice Circle in the Nearer Valley. I called him Grumpy Doo-Doo when I was still a toddling, and it just stuck. I knew he studied a copy of the Lamentations text in a library once, because the library burned down and people always came to hear him talk about it. These are his notes. The only reason they didn't find them was because they were small enough to slip inside a cut I made in a stale old loaf of bread nobody wanted. It's been sitting in the front window of my shop for the last few days, plain as a cherry on a nice bun. But the guard get paid too well, see? And they take all the fresh bread. I think you'll find the last few pages particularly interesting, if you brush the crumbs off. Eleisa opens the book. Inside, in a very neat and careful handwriting, the old man has explored the text line by line. He numbers the lines of the text and then adds comments and thoughts about his reflections on its meaning. There are notes of his interpretation for the more obscure parts of the vision, and at the end there is a whole page on the strange script and the language of the last 8 lines. It is a poem, Eleisa says. He says it's an octet made of rhyming couplets. It's all about what will happen at the beginning of the end, when there'll be a kind of restoration with a feast or party and everything. Lucille's poem is a sign. It is a voice of hope and healing, and tells of the day when darkness is finally transfigured. Well, what does that mean? Ned asks. Eleisa glances over the pages, I'm guessing darkness and all the bad stuff, which is as sickness gets healed, turns into goodness in the light, and then there's a party to celebrate, and the lights don't go out again, ever. She looks closer at the pages. There are lists of words and possible alternatives exploring the subtleties of the text. As she turns the leaves of the book, she is intrigued at how the ideas are linked to other texts, other statements that maesters and maestri have declared in the last few hundred years. The Lamentations is not a single voice, Eleisa says. It seems it is the culmination of years of reflection and anticipation. They don't even know who wrote the first ideas down, except that it came from the light. And Lucille's is the oldest written form. There were once fragments passed on in secret, and then a council established the agreed text. It was decided in the 4th Congress of Sun Halls. Then she turns a page, and her eyes light up. Look, she says. There's a translation of the end. The last 8 lines are deciphered, but he's not sure about a few words and has underlined them. The note says we can't be sure of the actual meanings, and these are his best guesses. He's filled in the gaps by referring to other ancient texts. We knew it would help, see? Tubald says. The doo-doos were always sticklers and always did do their doing well, if you see what I mean. What do the last lines say, Eleisa? She reads them aloud, and Tubald nods his head with each rolling stress and each tumbling pause. When darkness falls, thick as a solid wall, and light has declined with or in the last tree's fall, look for Firebird, brilliant and red. Blessed is each one if it flies o'er your head. Then one of the youngest who moves in the light will shine the sun's power, and all will be right. The heart fires, long dead, when restored and alight, shall rise like a sunbird, sending hope for the fight. The stone circle's silence, long dead to the hour, will open, and something with a something, power. Something with a something, Tom says. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, I know. It's a bit jerky, Tubald says. But at least he's tried to make it flow like a proper poem, says Ned. It rhymes and everything, sort of, but I still don't have any idea what it means. He grins. And what are those stars for? Tom asks. They're for footnotes, Eleisa says. Look, he's written alternative meanings. The bird of fire may be a fiery bird, or a flight of flame, or even a flame-coloured bird. The blessing that flies o'er is either goes over, or lands on, or rests on. When it says heart fires, it could be hearths, faithful hearts, or even fireplaces. Fireplaces, Tom says. And what's the next bit, with its somethings? Ned asks. A great feast, or possibly a consumption of all, Eleisa says. They look at each other, a little speechless, and Eleisa lowers the paper.
Yes, well, that was always a problem with ancient texts,
Tubald says.
Grumpy Doo-Doo may have been a stickler for getting it right, but he was the first to admit we can't always know exactly what words mean. Don't stickle in a pickle, he used to say. He said that when the meaning starts to slide away, you have to read the words with your heart mostly. Be guided by what is right in there. The heart is never wrong. Goodness and love always shines a light into darkness. Helps sort out most things when you're stuck in the shadows. When words stump you, love trumps you. He told me once, if you're speaking sacred words and love is on your tongue, but you're killing, so there's blood upon your hands, something's mighty mangled in your thinking, that's for sure. Too much of your own mind's a mighty mickle mess. If you get stuck to stickling in translating words, the sense is strangled to silence. Too often people just do what someone else says instead of reading with the heart and finding the glow of words for themselves. And that's how come people got away with such terrible troublings in the past, making an honouring of the words. They kept the light secret and told people what was meant, so they shuffled around in the dark. And it was really just what they made it mean, with head thinking, or worse, what they wanted it to mean, to make things fall out for their own good. Hand thinking is what Grumpy Doo-Doo called it.
At a very deep level, we have to walk beyond what we know from the words and do what we feel and believe is right, Eleisa says.
Grumpy called that the holy flow, Tubald says. You don't rely on someone else's telling you what's right and wrong when words wobble the meaning on the tongue. That's just a lot of noise.
Like throwing stones into water when you're stone wishing, Eleisa says.
You have to know the truth, feel it for yourself, and it frees you to act on that.
So we may all truly live in the sun, Eleisa says. And she thinks of her grandmother's prayer when she adds, and live in the lights burning.
Can I have a look?
Tom says, and he takes hold of the text. He holds up the paper and then takes out his bloodstone to cast more light on it. He reads it carefully in silence, draws the bloodstone near to the paper, and as the light shimmers over the text, a soft humming rises from the stone. The light flickers, glows, and then burbles until it burns brightly. What happens next is strange. Tom says afterwards that he didn't do anything. He doesn't know what happens exactly, but for Ned and Eleisa, it is quite a spectacular sight. Tom's hand grips the bloodstone, and as he lifts the book, he suddenly rips the last page from the text. He holds up the leaf, and the red light of his stone falls upon the words. His eyes have closed, but he opens them then in a moment, and they are bright and red and burn like fire. The light flames from his eyes, and his mouth opens with a powerful, deep voice, and a wisp of shining floats from his lips as he speaks. The words turn from sound to light and shimmer over the paper in a sparkling dust. He holds the text, written by Tubald's Grumpy aloft, and Ned and Eleisa watch as it is slowly transformed. The words shuffle and shift as some fade and others are redrawn.
When darkness has fallen, as dense as a wall,
and light declines at the blood trees fall. Look for the flame bird's brilliant red. Happy are they when it blesses your head. And one of the innocents living in light will shine the sun's power and burn into bright. And desires long dead are restored, set to right, to rise with a king flyer's hope in the night. The stone circles silence, long dead to the hour, will bite with the sting of a dragon's great power.
Lovely, Ned says. But it's still as clear as mud to me. Mud is mud, Ned, Twobold says. But at least we have the words. Tom's stone burned off the chaff of doubting. The meaning will come in the unfolding.
At that moment, Tom drops to the floor, as if he has fainted. But when he is sitting on the ground, he looks up brightly. "What?" he says. "Why are you all staring at me?" When Eleisa explains, they look once more at the paper. "So does it help?" Tom says. Eleisa shrugs. "So do you think you might know what you're going to do?" He looks across at her. "I'm certainly not going to sit in a cave in the dark and do nothing," she says. Tom smiles, and his eyes flicker once more. "I'll have to go home and search the garden."
Oh no. No. That's not a good idea to be grasping at,
Twobold says.
They have guard patrolling in the village. Even the Spots haven't come out of their houses for 2 days. I have to take them a delivery each morning.
"Twobold," Eleisa says. "We can't just stay here."
Let me go. I'll search the garden for you. Don't you even think of it.
"And I'll need to go and check on my uncle's house," Tom says. "I need to find that pig and just hope they missed it. Uncle Willis's bloodstone might be sitting right there on the mantelpiece."
Oh no. No. That's not a good idea neither. The house is definitely sealed, and they're watching that one very closely. It's right by the well too, where they have their breaks, and a good too many of those they take too, always supping Sam Fest's ale after what they did to him. We can't make hasty decisions and rush about. I'll stay here this evening, and we can all sleep on it. Then we can have a good chitty chat about it in the morning, with clearer heads.
They make up the fire, so it burns through the night, and sit watching its glow dance on the walls of the cave. Slowly they curl up and pull the blankets over them, but Twobold sits on the floor by the door, as if to remind them to stay exactly where they are. Twobold is quiet as he looks down at the children. He has never had any of his own, but he knows they need a lot of tenderness and nurturing, and suddenly a cuddling song comes to him. It's a lullaby that his own mother once sang. It is simple nonsense, he knows, but it makes him feel better too. So he lets it rise up from the deep within. He sings about summer sunshine and swimming in a warm honey river, and there are strawberry flowers with creamy white clouds and a fountain of fudge. They half smile at the scene he paints in their minds, but they let the soft sugar of his words coat them in sleep. Tubold's presence, his calm manner, and the wholesome food have made them all drowsy. And for the first time in a few days, they are safe. And it is not too long before they have all drifted off. When Tom wakes, he looks up. The fire has died down to a few glowing embers. A good few hours have passed. Across the cave, he sees that Tubold's cloak is missing from where he'd hung it on the door. He looks to the ground, and there is Tubold fast asleep, propped against the door frame. His arms are folded comfortably over his belly, and his cheeks are relaxed and chubby as his great lips blow out slow, heavy breaths. Tom looks again, and there is Ned, dozing silently and moving a little restlessly like a dog dreaming of running. His eyes shift one more time, and there is the empty space that he half expects to see. The blanket that had covered her has been dropped carelessly on the ground, and her boots are missing. Eleisa has gone.